everybody. Hello, my name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. So it's the midweek review that we're doing today. By the way, this is a quick video preview for the webinar, which is going to happen in a few moments. So do not tune out. We're going to talk markets. We have a lot of excitement again. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully you'll enjoy the session. I'll see you in a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, good morning. My name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, the 23rd of July, 2025. Yes, I would like to welcome you to this midweek review where we're going to have a look at what's happening basically and what has happened so far and what can we expect in the upcoming days. Before we jump into any action, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yes, I'm gonna do the usual good morning in the chat room. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, good morning, everyone. So yeah, also just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. And also I wanted to point out this little webinar that I'm going to be doing next week on the 31st of July. So please tune in. Hopefully you will enjoy it. We're going to talk basically different sectors that could benefit in a way where when the times go rough, and especially in the situations when we are hitting all-time highs. Look, you want it or not, eventually some sort of a reversal should happen. So again, we'll talk about all that in that webinar. So join. You can find the link in the description for this one, and yeah, we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at what's happening with the market. Boom. Boom, there we go. We have an explosion, a nice pop here to the upside on Nikkei. As always, I start off with that one. And Nikkei cleared my area of resistance. Look at this beautiful technical picture. I talked a lot about this for a few weeks now. And I said to you, look, this looks like something of a possible bullish flag. And I will get bearish on this one only if it crosses below the the crossroads of the two trend lines. So did it do that? No, it rebounded beautifully and pushed higher and cleared the barrier there. Now look, for now everything seems to be positive. And if you're wondering what's happening here, well, I don't know if you didn't hear the news, but Japan basically struck a deal with the US, and they struck a deal, and basically Japan is going to be investing around 550 billion into the US economy, buying that many goods and services, and yeah, very very good for the US in a way. And certainly, of course, we understand that, you know, the whole point here was to justify that 10, 15, 20% just flat tax on all imports by the US. And Japan basically got 15%. It's like, you know, we're living in this world right now where, like, ooh, what kind of tariff you got? Well, I got 10%. Right, wow, that's nice. I only got 15. You know, so it's like, yeah, it seems like a new standard or something, like, you know, a new approved standard of, let's say, you know, oh, I got, like, you know, that much. Oh, I got that much. Okay, like, you know, oh, you're like, what are you, a loser or something? You know, it's like I said, it seems like we're back in kindergarten, and yeah, we're just trying to kind of trying to play this game, you know, and it's like a new game. Like I said, who is gonna get what? Oh, I can see there finally, Diraj Takale. Hey, good morning. I can see you there in the chat room. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Honestly, like, thank you. I hope you'll enjoy the session. And if you have any questions, honestly, throw them out there, because that's the whole point of the show. I'm running these shows live because the whole point is that so that you would ask questions if you have any questions, you know, and we'll go from there. But we have up to an hour basically for all that, so feel free, shoot those questions away, and I'll if I know the answer, I'll say I know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll say I don't know the answer. But I will research and find out. Look, so yes, coming back to the situation with Japan. Okay, so they got the 15%. So they got the 15%. They are investing 550 billion into the U.S. Or basically that's how many goods they're buying. Okay, look, whatever, you know, whatever makes you happy, and it seems like the market is becoming very happy. We are also seeing reports that the current prime minister will be resigning in a month's time, the prime minister of Japan. And maybe that's also seen as a positive, because again, we know that the new party that came in as well into the into the House, basically they're very pro cutting, and at the moment we know that the BOJ is planning to increase interest rates. Well, okay. That's maybe, of course, that they're worried that the Japanese yen might weaken. But look, I would say that you know they should not rush. Again, you know, the way the Japanese yen could in a way naturally strengthen. I'll tell you about this more when I'll pick up on the Japanese yen against other currencies. But for now, looking at the situation with Nikkei, look, purely from the technical perspective, as long as we stay above this highlighted zone, the breakout zone, above the 40,620 zone, I will continue targeting the upside. My next target will be the 42,493 here, marked by the highest point of 2024. And then we'll go from there. Very simple. If by any chance we suddenly start reversing sharply to the downside, and we start breaking this upside line here, taken from the low of the 23rd of May, then yes, I will consider it maybe a little bit of a move to the downside. However, a drop below the downside line and the 50-day EMA would be required. China. Let's have a look at China. China rallied as well, enjoying the moment. I think that the stock market, just in general, the fact that the stock market is quite elevated, it is kind of, enjoying the time as well. Also, we know that the People's Bank of China did kind of keep the rates unchanged. So in a way, it seems to be everything is somewhat stable. So yeah, for now, I think that we will continue targeting the upside, but I have to say that my target got reached, because I was aiming for this territory near the 14,000 kind of 200 zone. So I said to you that previously that if we do pop above that 13,885, great, I'll go to the upside and I'll target this 14,200. So we came very close to that, and I think that's a good result. I mean, look, it's always the case. It's never the exact level, it's the area near that level. So you're always aiming for the area, not like you have a level, but actually you're aiming like a little bit above or a little bit below, just kind of that. So yeah, one of the targets got reached. So now I have to say that I'm looking at this scenario. If we do pop above the 14,200, I'm going to go a little bit more to the upside. Jumping into the US indices, look, Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is what I was mentioning as well, and I did throw out this idea. Where is that idea here? I threw it out last week on the 18th of July. I warned everybody. Look, I mean, we're forming something of a possible falling channel here, which basically could break out to the upside. So, a long story short, the prevailing trend was to the upside. So again, the greater chance for this one is to break out higher. That's theory. However, we always need to wait for that confirmation break, and so far it seems to be that the cash index is showing willingness to go to the upside. Also, the fact, look, the S&P and the NASDAQ did hit the all-time highs. So, you know, it's kind of Dow is playing the catch-up game, but, you know, eventually it could reach target. By the way, I just wanted to, by the way, Diraj, Dekale, look, another thing, I think because the comments sometimes are lagging, please do mention the instrument that you're looking at, because again, when you're saying it's easy to achieve second support, I don't know, maybe I've already moved away. Was it from China here? You know, you're talking about. So just let me know which instrument you're talking about. In general, for everybody who's watching this, let me know the instrument that you're talking about, referring to, you're mentioning, and because, like I said, by the time your comment can come through, I probably have already moved away from that instrument. So sometimes it's a little bit like, yeah, confusing. But yeah, thank you very much. Well, let me know which one are you talking about. So yes, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that's the situation here. Look, we're currently in the earnings season. Today we're getting Tesla, Alphabet, getting those companies are delivering. Let me just filter this by market cap. There we go. Alphabet, Tesla, T-Mobile, IBM, excuse me, ServiceNow, AT&T. So basically, if you're trading any of the stocks, just if any of these stocks, just check out the economic calendar. Tomorrow, we're having Blackstone, Honeywell, Union Pacific, Intel. So yes, keep your eyes on that. Friday is a little bit of more of a quiet day, but yeah, next week we'll have some interesting companies again. Let me just put this by market cap. So yes, basically we're in earnings season right now, so just be careful. Tuesday, look at this. I mean, we're having the top US companies here delivering interest rate. Wednesday, Meta, Microsoft. Yes, we're keeping an eye on that one. Apple, Amazon. The end of July is an interesting moment. Look, long story short, for now, you know, we're seeing some positivity here in the Dow. Let's see if we can actually, you know, kind of stay above we're breaking right now the upper side of the falling channel. Let's see if we can stay above it. My next target will be the 45,077 territory. That's the current all-time high on the cash index that I have here. And then yeah, we'll go from there. Like I said, I'm aiming on the Dow Jones. I'm aiming for the current all-time high. The S&P and the NASDAQ did already those all-time highs, so they're just kind of in uncharted territory, or uncharted-ish territory. They kind of already charted it a little bit, but there is still potential for this one to go higher. Look, for the S&P, I said before, on Monday I talked about this, and I said that if we're following the Fibonacci extension this way, we're drawing it this way from the low of the lowest point of October of 2023 to the highest point of February of 2025, and then the lowest point of April of 2025, then yes, this is the 6,400-ish zone is the one to watch. If we're drawing the Fibonacci extension this way, let me just show you what I'm talking about here. We're drawing it from the lowest point of October of 2022, then the target becomes the 61.8 becomes around 6,438. So this could be a nice good target as well. So just kind of keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this Fibonacci extension is, as any other indicator, is a little bit subjective. So you know, we're trying to make some sort of sense with the historic price action, and you know, we're having different approaches. But yeah, for now, looking at the S&P, look, there is still potential for this one to go higher. Don't get me wrong. Yesterday we saw a little bit of a correction in NASDAQ because these guys fell off the cliff. AMD, NVIDIA, and this and NVIDIA, AMD, TSM, basically the chip makers, I think that there was a problem with the one of the deals did not go through. between, oh, I can't remember. I have to look at this. But anyway, there was a, like I said, I think one of the companies, another company was acquiring another company, and it flew out of my head, honestly. Anyway, you can research that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's I think yeah, you can have a quick look. So long story short, for now, Nasdaq. What can we expect from Nasdaq? First of all, we remained above this breakout point, the 22,900 zone I talked about previously, and the fact that as long as we stay above it, then yeah, we could continue targeting the upside. But if you're not comfortable with this, then certainly just kind of wait for a pop above the 23,261. If that gets clear, the forthcoming higher high will be confirmed. The Raj 500 index, S&P 500 and the 50, we always see them going up. Well, for now, yes. I mean, but this is the thing. That we cannot go all the time higher. It's just, you know, we will correct at some point. Certainly, the question is how big of a correction we'll get. Will we get like a severe one, like we had like here, you know, after February, and then the end of February, and then kind of going into April? Or is this actually gonna, you know, just give us a little correction like this, something here, and then just rally again? Well, I would say this way, that for now, I don't want to rush into things, of course, and I take everything with a pinch of salt. So I would say this way, for the downside, if we start falling back below the 22,900 zone here on the Nasdaq, then I will start slowly considering a move lower. My problem then is that we have this upside line here, which could be a little bit in the way, but if that gets cleared, certainly yes, this could open the door to some lower levels, because at the same time, probably, the 50-day EMA could coincide with this upside line, and this is like the break of this upside line could actually at the same time signal a break of the 50-day EMA, opening the door to some lower areas. So yeah, that's the game plan right now with the U.S. In terms of economic data, by the way, from the U.S. today, let's have a look what's happening. Do we have anything major? EIA crude oil stock in change coming out today. So if you're trading oil, I'll jump into oil in a bit as well. Existing home sales are coming out, so nothing major, to be honest. I think the more interesting part will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we have in the U.S. we get the initial and continuous jobless claims, but and also some of the new home sales, yes. But the main interesting thing will be the ECB and its interest rate decision, but I'll get to that in a bit. The US dollar index, look, we're flirting with this key area of support right now, this 97 territory, 97.14-ish, or in general I would say 97. So if we do drop and stay below the 97 territory, I will continue targeting the downside. I talked about this yesterday. I've mentioned the idea here, basically I said that, look, if we hold here and we rebound right now, then maybe we'll have ourselves a nice inverted head and shoulders pattern, with the neckline being somewhere here. But let's not rush into things. In general, I'm not very bullish on the US dollar. I said that several times already in my previous videos, that at the moment, until the US is selling weapons to everybody, they need a cheaper dollar. They need a cheaper dollar, and yeah, this way, you know, you make your weapons a little bit more attractive on the not only weapons, but we understand that, you know, one of the biggest exports. Look, what can I say? For now, the US dollar, of course, could strengthen, but for that we need to see a pop somewhere above the 98.65. Look, this week I don't think that it's going to be strengthening. Maybe next week when we will be getting the Fed, the interest rate decision by the Federal Reserve. That's coming out on the 30th, so don't forget. Why is it not loading up here? Just a second. The Fed Watch tool. There we go. So we are expecting to see the same no-cut action again. Of course, criticism is pouring in from the White House. Look, I think that the fact that if they want to do a cut in September, I think that would be enough. So July, let's just keep it as it is. But again, there's a lot of speculation now. Like if we're doing this in September, then why not to do it in July? And I think that a lot of things depend on the tariffs and how we're going to go with the August 1st. But as we know now, the can is getting kicked slowly. There are already I already mentioned this, that the can will be kicked because you cannot impose such radical tariffs on anybody. And basically what the whole point, what you want is just a flat 10-15% tariff on all goods coming into the US. That's it. First you spook everybody with 50-100% tariffs on everything, and then everybody starts coming in oh, let's make a deal and everything. Okay, let's make a deal. I'll give 10% or 15% on the goods that are getting on your goods that you're exporting into the US. Right, take it or leave it. There we go. And then that 10-15%, that's still okay ish. So for now I would say this way, for now we're going to see those tariffs. Like I said, we're going to see those negotiations, and the deadline will get kicked further and further, and it's going to be it's going to be an interesting moment, to be honest. I mean, look, I think that, like I said, nothing will happen. It's just a show that unfortunately we have to live through. So and of course we monitor the market and try to guess where it's going to go next. So looking at the dollar, like I said, if we do drop and stay below the 97 territory, I will go lower. The German index DAX, is very, very interesting here as well. And hey, what can I say? For now, look, I have redrawn this upside line before I had it this way. It's a very tentative one, so I don't think that we even have to actually have it here. I think that to keep an eye on the EMAs would be enough. So if we do fall below the 50-day EMA, then yes, I will go a little bit more to the downside. If we're looking at some higher levels, then certainly a push above the 24,643 zone here would be nice. That would confirm a forthcoming higher high. Certainly, some of you might start looking at the upside from this 24,486 territory right here, which has been a good area of resistance, as you can see yourself. But certainly to be a little bit more on the careful side, that's what we would need. Look, the ECB. Do not forget, because tomorrow we're not going to have a show, so I'm not going to be able to kind of talk about it tomorrow. However, you can check out the videos. There we go. Yes, the videos that I've done here recently on our YouTube channel here, and I talked about the ECB rate decision here, so it's a specific one for this news event, so you can check it out. Yeah, we can, like I said, you can have a look. I talked a lot about that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Just to say that look, like I said, for more info on the ECB part, you can take a look at this video here. But what I will say is that from the technical perspective, I think that a lot of things will be a lot of instruments will be waiting for tomorrow's decision. Tomorrow we are expected to see no action. We're expected to see the rate remaining the same. Like here in the 2.15, so that's fine, that's okay. Nothing really kind of major here. As what's interesting going to be the press conference half an hour later, so keep your eyes on that one, because if they're going to say that we don't want to do any more cuts in the near future, maybe that could kind of shake the German DAX in a little bit of a negative way. So just keep an eye on that one if you are trading the German DAX. The FTSE 100, yeah, there we go, popped nicely. Let me just double check something. We want to get some more historic data. Right, okay, just a sec. So if I can get one of those, you're right. Okay, let me just double check this neutral part here. UKX. There we go. This I think has been the all-time high. There we go. Yep, that is correct. This is the all-time high. We have hit a new all-time high. That is just fascinating. That is just amazing. I mean, it is unstoppable. Look at this sharp reversal. Look at this sharp reversal in general from this April drop here all the way to here. 20%, nice 20% gain here on the FTSE. Of course, that's a little bit lower than, from when we started the year. So we started the year around this level here. Let me just put this one right there. There we go. So since the beginning of this year, we have gained around 10%. Okay, somebody might say that, hey, but in comparison to DAX, that's kind of nothing, because DAX here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. DAX here, where's that? January 2nd. So from around here, roughly, we have gained around 20%. So only from the opening. So DAX is a much better performer in that sense than the FTSE. However, for the FTSE, I think that's okay. That's good. That's a good result. So I think that we should not kind of discount that. For now, looking at this picture here on the FTSE 100, what can I say? The cash index seems to be willing to go further north. We popped above the 9,041 zone. We're in uncharted territory. I don't know where the next target will be. The 9,100 could be an interesting psychological level, but of course, as always, we can revert to our beloved Fibonacci extension. And the way we can draw this one, well, maybe from this reversal here to the upside, and going all the way to this high, then and dropping to the April lowest point, then you'll see that the 9,227 could be the next good target. But that's, I would say, quite a lot. Maybe something else should be in the works here. Maybe we should, kind of consider another little level. Maybe it's actually this one which we should measure it from. But then again, 9,264. Again, we basically this area around the 9,200 and a little bit above it. That's what's interesting right now. That's what's it seems to be like attracting attention. But again, is it possible? Yes. Will it go there? I would say let's go slowly, step by step, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so for now, yes, I'm going to aim for that 9,100, the psychological one level there, and we'll go from there. Let's jump into the Forex world, ladies and gentlemen. AUDUSD very quickly. So far so good. We're in this rising wedge pattern. I talked a lot about this, and I said to you, look, this is an interesting spot. We rebounded from this territory. We had a violation, a beautiful violation here, but we managed to stay above this lower side of the rising wedge. So we're pushing now to the upside, and yeah, I would say this way that I will continue targeting the upside. I'm going to continue targeting the upper side of this rising wedge. In general, according to all the TA rules, rising wedges tend to break to the downside. However, if we look at the prevailing trend here, before entering this pattern, there is a chance for this one to break out higher. So for now, we're just kind of pointing to the upside within the formation. AUDJPY. Beautiful rebound from this territory right here, this upside line. Yesterday, we saw a little bit of a decline because the stock market was in somewhat of a risk-off environment. We've tested this AUDJPY. By the way, AUDJPY is one of our risk-on and risk-off monitors. We tested the upside line, rebounded, and now we're trying to make our way back up here. However, I'll say it this way, I will go higher if we do pop above the 97.32 territory right there, and then we'll go from there. NZD-USD. NZD-USD is, it's nicely rebounding from this 200-day EMA, pushing back up and climbed back above all my EMAs. So in a way, everything seems to be pointing a little bit more to the upside. 0.6048 is the interesting level here. If we clear it, my next target is the 0.61 kind of 20 zone right there. NZD-JPY, beautiful. I sometimes say that this is the better risk on risk off monitor than the AUDJPY, but hey, sometimes sometimes is this one, sometimes is the other one, I would say. For now, look, I would say it this way: if you're looking for some higher levels on this pair, I would like to see a break above these 88.89 zone. If we can get that move, a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed. USDJPY, beautiful drop here. Look, this is why, you know, an interest rate hike for Japan, I don't think maybe it's needed even, because the Japanese yen, this is what I wanted to say to you, that because the Japanese yen can strengthen just naturally, automatically. If the stock market eventually reverses back down, we could see the US dollar kind of rallying, and maybe then you could need to, but then again, you know, the US dollar could rally, but then the Japanese yen could rally a little bit more. So we could see kind of just natural interest in the Japanese yen being the safe haven kind of picking up, and we could see that moment where USDJPY could actually drift back down. Again, it's always a gamble, of course, because the US dollar is can also be seen as somewhat of a safe haven, but again, it depends on the policy. If they still need a cheaper US dollar, then they could keep it lower, and the Japanese yen could take the crown of the safe haven, as it is right now. But looking at this from the technical perspective, it seems like we're forming something of a rising wedge here, and now this one is quite a typical bearish case scenario. So we have the prevailing trend to the downside, we're forming a rising wedge. The greater chance for this one right now is to break out lower again. While, as I kept on saying before, while we remain inside the pattern, inside this formation, I will kind of stick to the sides, you know. So if we're dropped below the 147.18, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside, but only up until this. Although I'm kind of considering a breakout here, but I'm still just targeting the lower side of this rising wedge. USDCAD dropping nicely to the downside, and hey, this is going to be an interesting moment here if we're going to clear this 1.3539 zone. If we can clear that area, then yes, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. For the upside, I would say this way, that if we do push above the 50-day EMA shown there as the green line, I will go a little bit more. I'll go to the upside. USDCHF very quickly drifting lower, beautiful hold up here below this 0.8038, 0.8040 zone. I talked about this in my videos, and yes, beautiful hold up here. We're drifting lower. Let's see if we can test the 0.7871 zone, or maybe even break it. That could be an interesting one, because again, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. EURUSD, something that everybody is watching for today, and of course tomorrow. So keep your eyes on that one. And hey, for now, I would say this way, that it is at an interesting spot. And if we're looking for some higher levels, then in a way, yes, everything seems to be still confirming the upside scenario. But the problem that I have is that, look, we don't know what's going to happen with the ECB. And if the ECB suddenly says that, you know what, we're doing the pause right now, but we're ready to jump in anytime with the rate cuts again, then this could weaken the euro, and we could see this one sliding back down. But if they don't say something like that, then maybe they'll say that, okay, we had enough of cuts, now we're going to be examining the upside, you know, the hikes. Then this is where the EURUSD could maybe rally further north. EUROJPY stalling here, very interesting moment. We're stuck in between in this little range here. We did violate it a few times, but still we remain in that range, so I'm keeping an eye on that one. GBPUSD pushing higher, pushing towards the 1.3562. If we can get a nice clearance of that one, then yes, great, more buyers here could join in. If we can clear this territory right there. For now, I'm watching it. I'm not really rushing into anything, because maybe we will start oscillating around the 50-day EMA. Who knows? Maybe we'll start forming something of a range here. So that's why I'm not rushing into anything. Let's jump into gold. Buy target got reached. my target got reached. I'm very happy because, again, this is something that I talked about. I said, look, we're forming something of a triangle. We're forming an ascending triangle within an ascending triangle. So this is the smaller triangle, and this is the bigger triangle. So everything was very bullish. We broke this week on Monday. We popped above the 3,365 territory. I talked about this, and there we go. We reached my target. Good result. Can I say? Great. For now, the question is, can we break this 3,430.40 zone right here, the highlighted area? If we can clear that, I'm going to go to the upside. I'm going to go for that all-time high, or maybe higher. The 3,500 is an interesting level because that's the all-time high. Yeah, we'll go from there. Silver. Silver is also popping nicely. We popped above the 39.12 zone here. So hey, for now everything seems to be looking quite good, and if we can stay above this area, then yeah, further upside could be possible. Palladium. Palladium is pushing higher again, but again we need a clearance of that 1,370.71 zone in order to go to the upside. Platinum also still elevated. Look, at some point it will have to correct lower, but not now yet. Not now. It seems like, yes, it still wants to go to the upside. Copper. Now, copper is hitting the fan lately. I mean, it's hitting the news because everybody's rushing to deliver copper into the US, because apparently from August 1st, copper will have 50% tariff. Look, okay, it might have it, but the US needs copper. It doesn't need copper at higher levels. Once you have established production inside your country, then you can do whatever you want. But for now, until you don't have that major production, you know, you do have production. There is production, but can it, fulfill all the needs of the industry, of the market inside the country? Well, no. So you need that Chilean, copper metal here, and you need that everything, and Chilean and Australian, yes. So for now, long story short, I would say this way, that everything is somewhat positive. We're targeting that 5.89 zone. If we can clear that 5.89 zone, then yes, I'll go to the upside. WTI oil. WTI oil is looking quite good. I'm happy with this because why? Because I said to you before that I am bearish on oil, and we were forming something of a this rising channel here. Well, basically it was more of a bearish flag. So we are now we broke the flag here, the lower side of that flag, and I said to you before that, look, a drop below the $65 mark, and we continue to trade below the $65 mark, I'm leaning towards that psychological $60 mark after that. Very simple. I have a simple game plan here in oil. For now, it is looking still bearish. Natural gas. Natural gas, yes, we fell back below the 200-day EMA, so hey, the next target for me could be this psychological 3 level. Let's see if that's going to happen. Coffee. Coffee is, yeah, it's coffee is around this 290 zone, and look, it's oscillating. It's a little bit of a mess here, so I would say if we do pop above the 313 zone, then that's great. If we do fall below the 277 territory here, that's something of a bearish indication. Cocoa is rebounding nicely, so we're approaching that upper side of the falling channel. Let's see what's going to happen here, and yeah. For now, it's a tricky one. I would say that while we remain inside the pattern, we could still go lower, but let's not rush into things, okay? So if you are trading cocoa, look, I would say it this way: we're approaching this upper side of the falling channel. Let's see if we can break that. If we can break that, amazing, I'll go higher. But if we cannot break that, maybe a drift lower here, maybe a fall back below the 7,636, 65, somewhere here, could do the trick for a few more sellers. Wheat, very quickly, wheat still oscillating around my EMAs, nothing major to be honest here. Sugar, oh no, sugar found good support here, where it last time found support from which it rebounded and rallied again. Let's see if we can drop below that 16.06 territory. If we can, my next target is the 15.87 or maybe the 15.47 here, right here. But again, only if it drops below the 16.06. For the upside, a push above the 16.79 territory here and this 50-day EMA could do the trick for a few more buyers. Cotton, let's have a look at this one. One of my favorite. It's oscillating around the 200-day EMA, so one of my favorite commodities, but it's really stuck here right now. So look, I'm waiting for a clearance above that 69.72 territory somewhere here, and then we'll go from there. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, for dessert, Bitcoin and the gang, we're stuck still. We're still stuck in this little range. I talked about it, and I said to you that, look, we are in this zone, in this territory, and we're near this 120 zone. We tested it yesterday. I talked about this already. I said that in order for me to go higher again, I need to see a push above that 120 territory. If we can get that move, great. I'll go to the upside. Am I getting that move? No. So I'm waiting. Yes, we're above the upside support line taken from the low here of the 22nd of January. Oh, sorry, June. We're basically above this trend line drawn from the lowest point of June. There we go. Yes, we're above that trend line, but again, like I said, we're in a little bit of a range. So let's see if we, let's say, won't break the upside line. We can always do that. So for now, I'm watching the game plan here. BCH USD, Bitcoin Cash, still within the rising channel. So in a way, at this point, we're kind of in the middle of that rising channel. So it could go up and down here. So I'm not really not very interested right now in this. Although I like Bitcoin Cash very, very much, I need to see this one getting closer to one of the sides of this rising channel. Ethereum finally getting a little bit of a retracement. That's fine. And let's see if we can draw the Fibonacci retracement here from this low of the lowest point of June to the highest point, the current highest point of July. And the 23.6 lies somewhere around the 3,446. Basically, the 3,500 is becoming quite an interesting level to watch. So let's see if we can reach that one. Ripple, look, for Ripple, a push above the 3.6588 zone here is needed. Then I'll get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. For the downside, a drop below the 3.39 zone here might be an interesting option here. So look, if we do fall below this area, then yeah, I will consider some lower levels. Litecoin, we got a nice hold up here near this downside line, so we stalled here. And look, what can I say? For now, it's an interesting moment here, and we stalled here below this downside line. So if we want to go for some higher levels, a clearance of that downside line is required. And then yeah, we'll get a little bit more comfortable with maybe aiming for these levels right there. There we go. Dogecoin, yes, retracing a little bit, so that's fine. We're currently stalling near the 0.2595 zone. Let's see if we can stall here. If we can remain above this area, if we can, then this is what I'm considering. But in general, if we are doing that retracement right now on the cryptos, then all eyes are on the 23.6s. Polkadot is also stalling below the 200-day EMA. Very interesting development here. Struggling with that 200-day EMA. If we do clear it, okay, I'll go higher. But for now, it's it's just still kind of maybe could be doing something like this. And where's that retracement here? So if we draw it this way, then okay, we already did the 23.6. So maybe this one could just hang around here somewhere, just flat. And finally, Tron, a beautiful rebound from this upside line. That's great. 0.3196 is the one that I'm watching here. A nice good pop above it may attract a few more buyers into the game. And the next target could be the 0.3439 here. But again, for that, we need to see a pop back above the 0.3196, and then we'll go from there. If we do get that pop, then yes, like I said, I'll consider a move higher. But for the downside, a drop below this upside line, below the 0.3080 could do the trick for a few more sellers here. So yeah, that's kind of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of it. So I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, your views, your likes, your comments, everything. Diraj Takale, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for your comments. I really appreciate that. Kind of helps me out here a little bit, because at least I'm not talking to myself. But look, in general, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much who are watching, and I really appreciate that. So I hope you enjoyed it. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I'll see you on Friday. Bye for now.